It is right now. I brought, I went to Walmart to buy myself some stuff. Then brought that. This here, this represents, to me, not only the moon and the sun, but where my parents are going back to that August 22nd, 2022 timeline. I see pain in that. I brought a couple of canvases so I could dress up the place, make it mine. That's actually powerful. And that actually reminds me of that woman from Louisiana who's from Resident Evil 7 from the Bayou. Supposed to, I got to do something about this shit because this is just too fucking much. And I feel like I'm getting closer and closer to that, every single fucking day. I had an experience where the back of my body was wide open and I felt Santa Muerte. I actually got put under heat cape. Who's supposed to be Zendaya, some bullshit like that. And they've been doing, it's a lot of, I got to do, my spirit team, wasn't shit to begin with this curse. They weren't trying to help me out. They were doing like the bare minimum. My fucking Archangel Michael, for instance, I don't mean to blabber on. When I was walking and when he saw the people that I believe put this entity on me, Alex Nascimento or Browderman or whatever, you can use 694 hertz, 695 hertz to see what's going on. With that being said, because I'm trying to figure out, who put that on me. But when he saw in the spirit plane that it's down, and I kept hearing from the roach spirits when this curse first kicked into full effect, when I went back to the PCH after, back in 2023 after I got taken off, I kept hearing about some of my timelines being in the Pacific Palisades, and I was showing them two fucking wetbacks there. Were the first ones to put something on me where it constantly raids the back of your consciousness, and they were using that Alex Browderman or Alex Nascimento entity here. To do it, setting that up for it to be my soul consciousness and the subconscious from the back. And that's scary. And I feel shit putting hands on me. That was a scary experience the other night. Anyways, I'm trying to figure out, because my consciousness is so fucked up. Where I was going with that, I was walking to get my cell phone repaired in South Central, because of all this evil shit I got on me, and especially this Maria Tavares, I couldn't think fucking clearly. I mean, my intuition wasn't working clearly. I'm always being... Anyways, to make a long story short, he tells me stop in the middle of the street so that he can repair himself. And I'm like, that's schizophrenia, man. I started taking iron tablets again, which I have a few of. I wish I had the money to be able to get more, because when you're dealing with a curse like this that affects your consciousness, that shit that I endured the other fucking night was like mad fucking scary, and was a wake-up call to... Because that was some scary shit. I felt and kept feeling all last night like I could be pulled into a fucking hell realm. And with this evil shit, my spiritual protection, U694 hertz, 695 hertz to C, keeps thinning. They keep doing something where, Maria Tavares done pummeled into my subtle body, my soul consciousness, where they've been trying to eliminate my connection to my dad, who's my Godhead, along with my connection to my mother, get rid of, my Yoruba and Igbo ancestors who are my strongest, as well as my voodoo, Orisha, relatives and all of that. They were the ones who were saving me. I had Maria Tavares fuck with Pazuzu, who actually was an existing being, actually one of my ancestors, I think. Very powerful, and he's cool with black people. He was, trying to put me together and, as best as he could. And he could only do so much, but it's just, it's frustrating because I don't feel like I got a real fucking spirit team behind me. They be telling me all sorts of crazy ass shit, stop in the middle of the fucking street, go to this store and, go to that store and you gonna get this, or, like for instance, I was planning to go to Walmart to get my stuff, to dress up my apartment more and, bring, it's fucked up more of my energy, and I was told by my Archangel Mike, it's something about don't mop the floor, don't go to Walmart, something about don't go to Walmart. And I'm like, I'm in the middle of South Central, I just got my cell phone repaired. I want to get shit done in the fucking day and then come back. And I barely had any energy, because of that Maria Tavares who's already always around. And just to articulate, it's like I'm being told the most preposterous things to do just to get healing and spiritual protection. And it's unnecessary and schizophrenic. And I don't want to lose my spirit team, but all of this, I can't even play like fucking binaural beats because of that Maria Tavares in part to be able to contact ancestors, to be able to reach, spiritual help, God, archangels. It's very fucked up. And the minute, which I don't know if I explained it, the minute I took, the reason why I mentioned iron pills is because the minute I took it, I was being told by my Archangel Mike, or I felt it, that it did something to fuck up my connection to my father and his Godhead in that August the 22nd, 2022 timeline, which they keep trying to get rid of, that Maria Tavares and all that evil ass shit. My two highest selves in that timeline, I got an Ingrid Hybert. I believe it could be the people of Magicopolis. I got a Giannis. Hildebrand. I'm just trying to ascertain the truth on what the fuck is going on. But it's like I keep getting closer to that. This the back of here, which has your soul and shit. I felt Maria Tavares when I woke up one morning pulling my soul energy out of my body, and my spirit team ain't really trying to fucking work with me. It's a lot of fucking bullshit. It's just doing the bare fucking minimum and having me do fucking crazy shit to be able to get rebuilt and get my shit that everybody takes for fucking granted, that you should take for granted. I remember one night waking up and it's like the movie Gold Star, many films that you see of dead people where I'm being manipulated on what to say by having this shit pull at me and shit from the astral plane, Maria Tavares and all of that, and just all this evil shit. But it's like in the movies where you have, it's kind of like due to this curse, my parents becoming a tormented soul. I saw my dad becoming Theriel. I don't want to go into too much detail. I'm going to write a blog on it and, continue finish painting. But with that being said, it's kind of like how I was told where my father showed up in his NOPD cruiser and took my brother in, in the demonic state, because of this curse. He, got placed in hell realms by the Illuminati. You can use 1248 hertz to fucking get rid of their asses. To make a long story short, it's like my consciousness is so frayed right now, I can't even, explain what I want to say. But it's like them films where you see like a ghost bus that shows up that nobody else can see, they pick you up. And I had an LAPD helicopter that I woke up to outside. And one of my roach spirits was actually able to bounce that motherfucker out. And they had been trying to get rid of them because Maria Tavares especially, they're my strongest spiritual protection. But really, I just want my ancestors, I want my shit assembled. And, I remember I was walking and, I felt my foot fall into a puddle of mud. And I was told, Santa Muerte's realm is a lot like that, where, you're inside her skull, her cavity, and it's, muddy, the dark matter, primordial darkness that envelops you. I saw that on Selena, Quintanilla Perez, Selena, the singer who I rescued a long time ago. With that being said, I feel like I'm trying to get back to what I wanted to say, but I feel like it's just evil ass motherfucking shit trying to bring me mad close to the fucking death. It's the most evil ass motherfucking thing. This Maria Tavares trying to sell me the Santa Muerte. And, I believe her lower self's name is Serrano or Solano, the tarot reader here who did the reading. You know, I keep hearing this evil shit say that my next life father, a Marine Corps guy, keeps showing up, you know, talking about I'm, you know, due to get reincarnated, that I'm dead. You know, it's all this evil shit. And then, you know, if I wear aloe vera, put all this shit within, you know, I can't use 1248 hertz frequency because it does something to fuck up my spiritual protection. You know, I remember one day when I called on my fucking highest self for help. I couldn't use frequency because Maria Tavares, who's connected to a corporal person, you know, going back to May the 1st, 2024, you know, kept fucking with me and getting all in my spirit and energy body. You know, I get told and discouraged, you know, you play this, it's going to work against you. And I feel like it's just evil ass motherfucking forces at work that are trying to work against me. You know, I don't mean to explicate, but because I'm going to make it as short as possible, but I'm going to say this. It's a shame all the fucking curses that I got on me and all the evil spirits, like not the real Baron Samedi per se, who Maria Tavares and her Santa work, they were discussing taking his spiritual powers. You know, as well as mine, our ancestral money and all of that. And I'm related to him as well. I saw in the spirit plane along with Maria Laveau, and I don't, it's just, it's bad shit. It's just, you know, going back to Miracle Mile where this shit first started. What I understand, them people back there went to somebody to put this evil shit on me and set it up so, you know, because of my, you know, topless thing, which, you know, topless top free rights thing, I get kicked out the area. And, you know, them went back, so you see here, I had no spiritual fucking protection and saw that, you know, Baron Samedi, he did something, you know, early in life, my blessings, if I was to still have my original soul piece, was to own a nice little business, have a happy home in New Orleans East. I don't know if I would be kosher with that, but just like with this heat cage shit, they set it up where my blessings became a lot more expanded so that people would jump on me as a sacrifice. And that's exactly what he did. And he put energy vampires from Xavier Prep, You know, from what I understand, people there, a lot of people became millionaires and shit off of me, and just made my life hell, but not like this, and set me up to be in a trajectory of fucking evil shit. So it, you know, and he was part of my spirit team before I incarnated. So, you know, it's just a combination, the perfect storm of just bad management. I was told by Archangel Michael fucking gay. I was trying to ascertain if he's really even mine or not. I don't know. You know, came in and, you know, from what I understand, he was part of Baron Samedi. My father's Godhead didn't like him. And just took advantage. And took advantage of the situation. And, you know, came in and, you know, from what I understand, hired the higher selves who sold me out to that Alex Browderman entity here. People who cursed me back at Miracle Mile. I got an Echeverry. So they don't have to be under the curse of Baron Samedi, who came and just fucked up everything. And the only spirit guide I had who gave a fuck, you know, my higher the higher selves, a white, was a lone biracial woman named Eden, who went in and tried to get my shit. She a policewoman representing my father and shit self, you know, because your higher the higher selves represent your parents. She was the only one who went into the roach room and got stuck there to this day. You can use 694, 695 hertz to see. But it's just, it's like a combination. Cause, you know, every time I call on the voodoo lowers, it's, well, you got to wait 7 years to get back in your body. That timeline, August 22nd, 2022 timeline where I got soul swapped, that shit is real. You know I sound like I'm frenetic when I talk, but it's because I'm fucked up. My consciousness, because of this curse, is fucked up. I'm being told I'm supposed to expect to stay out that timeline. Or if I do get riches, it's outside that timeline. Without your body, you die. And I know, you know, for a fact that the soul swap happened. Because you know, I've been seeing my dad appear as a demon because of that evil ass shit. And I had a shopkeeper, very level-headed, say that he got a call from somebody sounding exactly like me the next day after August 22nd, 2022, calling for help. You know, I get intimidated from saying certain shit. You know, last week when I mentioned squiggly, you know, my timeline is looking like squiggly lines, which means you're close to that. From what I understand, that means that I had all this evil shit come in and fuck with me, you know, Baron Samedi, or, you know, because I know that Maria Tavern stole his soul consciousness like she did my father, going back to that August 22nd, 2022 timeline. I feel like me and my consciousness are on its last legs as I speak to you right now. Because I'm getting attacked so fucking bad, and I have nothing, no higher self. They got rid of my higher self. She kind of don't give a fuck. With that being said, I had, you know, all sorts of entity attachments that's connected to my consciousness removed, and you know, I'll have a spirit team that'll expect me to stay still, have no fucking, like, just have an empty, like, we ain't talking about Buddhism, no thoughts, but have nothing in my fucking head so they can work on me, so no intrusive thoughts interrupt. And it's like, this is going to be an ongoing, that's why I do these videos. I'm just going to say fucking and do these videos, because it's going to be an ongoing, everyday thing. You know, last week I got attacked really, really fucking bad. And the people here, interestingly, were open yesterdays. They open on Wednesdays and Saturdays. And it's just, and And that's when, you know, I got attacked the worst with the roach realm curse and all that shit. But anyways, it's like the perfect fucking storm. You know, from what I understand, a bunch of people saw I had great blessings coming to me, including, from what I understand, Zendaya Coleman, otherwise known as Zendaya, going back to the August 22nd, 2022 timeline. I understand she wrote something about you gonna be under the bridge and all that shit, and took me on as a sacrifice through some people I keep hearing about, who were praised for kicking me out of that Miracle Mile neighborhood. I think 637 Hauser Boulevard. And from what I understand, a lot of people, this girl here stole timelines. I think, you know, who I was having issues with. And that was another thing about that Alex Nascimento entity. He brought him an entity. I don't know who brought him in, Baron Samity or them people. But he would give away my shit to the people who did me the worst. Like at Coronado Island. Glad to articulate, you know, how bad it is. You know, assaulted me one night, big old fat Italian broad with a kid. They living in the lap of luxury, and, you know, these niggas here, you know, who assaulted me at an artist loft a long time ago. You 694 hertz, 695 hertz to see. And they done come up on me really, really fucking big. And especially in that original timeline, going back to August 22nd, 2022. I saw it yesterday, and it's just, I'm sitting there begging for fucking money, you know, sitting at a bus stop waiting for a bus, barely able to afford, you know, food, rent, you know, basic shit that people take for granted to some degree, you know, really, you know. And there's people out here that's just raiding me, raiding my energy body, my spirit body, my consciousness, and taking my shit and just taking it for granted, because I have no spirit team. I have no, you know, this whole, you know, remove that August 22nd 2022 timeline out your head. I've gotten that from Archangel Michael, faggot, and my Baron Samity. And I get intimidated when I talk about that, by this evil shit, by them evil ass motherfuckers. You know, from what I understand, it's a lot of people who came up off of me rich while I'm poor and struggling and living from homeless shelter to fucking homeless shelter at one point, and struggling. And it's just, you know, I felt it. Having my parents there in that timeline, when they appear now, I get roach attachments. It's a tragedy, you know, because I was going through a lot back then, and I've never seen, not only have I not seen the silver lining, but I ended up becoming a sacrifice for people who wanted to see me down and go down and not be able to get back up while they come up. My two highest selves, going back to that August 22nd, 2022 timeline. I got a blonde German woman along with a so-called supposed half Mexican, half white woman. I just want all this shit off. This Maria Tavares. I want all this evil ass shit off. I didn't ask for this shit. You know, being brought closer to death. Dealing with this motherfucking shit, being told on where Florida water that actually gets rid of this entity here, Alex Sprouderman or Alex Nascimento. Roach attachments like that curse I faced, that shit was coming in like a motherfucker. I was playing 7,000 hertz, so it was my roach spirits to get rid of them. I was combating it. 1150 hertz, which protects your consciousness and keeps the shit from being fucked with. if you play it in conjunction with 7,000 hertz, you know, I mean, now I got this Maria Tavares, from what I understand. One of the people here, Estevez, I kept hearing that at the beginning of this curse. It's just, her higher self, I think his name is Lorenzo, who's been the worst coming at me, along with Maria Tavares. And that woman, you know, the reader who gave me the reading at that 8704 Broadway Street place, now I feel shit like evil fucking entity attachments fucking with me right now. You know, if I try to play 17,000 hertz, Maria Tavares will fuck something up to where I'll need spiritual help right on the spot and I can't. Or 12,000 hertz, which holds consciousness altogether. If I say something like that, she'll start fucking with shit like she was fucking up my ability to play frequency last fucking weekend and shit. You know, I gotta stay prolific online and just, you know, start doing videos again. But with that being said, it's upsetting, you know, because from what I saw, it's a bunch of evil ass motherfucking people who are feeding off of me as a sacrifice and putting me under heavy curses, while at the same time having a spirit team that really don't give a fuck about me and don't have my best interest at heart and only want to do the bare minimum to keep me alive. So from what I understand, that woman in my body could stay alive. And from what I understand, their God, I think the one that the Illuminati answers to, and I know the real name of God. They're not only under the Baphomet, but they connected directly to God. Going back to the August, no, I sound schizo, but this shit's real. August the 22nd, 2022 timeline. They're putting her soul consciousness, which is why Maria Tavares has been removing my soul consciousness into my body. What's supposed to be my body. She's supposed to have had 2 kids with Lil Wayne or some shit. And I felt that timeline. Like I said before, and I'll say it again, that timeline is mad. I feel shit moving my entity attachments apart, tearing it apart as I talk right now. That timeline is very, very real. I've had my parents from that timeline, my brother Kristen and stuff, ask for help. It's just so much. And every single day, like I said, I don't wake up early in the morning with a spirit team that closes my consciousness and puts everything together. And if I call on Baron Samedi, it's to be under his curse. I don't want that. And that motherfucker is a big part of who I am, my consciousness. And I hope somebody off of YouTube don't manipulate that shit. So I can't do that, you know. It's just evil shit at every corner that wants me to be a sacrifice. And it seems like Maria Tavares being the fucking worst. I'm getting close. I've been trying to extricate that bitch for fucking weeks, and it's extremely difficult. Because like I said, my spirit team expects me to be fully involved, and they don't want to do their job. And they're just like, well, you know, we'll wait till you wake up and then get involved. And then, you know, the only motherfucker I had actually put me back together was Santa Worthy. She was putting my entity attachments, voodoo dolls and shit connected to Baron Samedi back together. She was doing all that shit. You know, ain't none of these motherfuckers trying to do shit. They aggravate you about what's going on in that timeline. I tell you, you can't get back in, and I got to do something to end this shit. Because it's getting to the point where it's just, I might fucking really die. You know, I know something happened on May the 1st, 2024. Like I say, I've been seeing squiggly lines ever since at the hands of the people at 8704 Broadway here.